Hello, guys, and welcome to episode number 33 of Reverse Sweep podcast. After a disappointing end to a T20 series against Sri Lanka, but due to some unavoidable circumstances about the COVID breach and half of our team in isolation, we still managed to give a decent, not decent, but a decent fight. And here we are today with Sid Jain straight away from London, waiting for the India-England series to start. And we have Pranav from Mumbai as well, our harsh critic and a huge Kohli fan, who is still waiting for his which century number.
72, if I'm not
But
mistaken.
we are. I think someone still had a bad bet, like on the first episode when we started our podcast series, and we are on 32nd, and still Kohli is on the same number of centuries. So
Yes.
it will be interesting to see which reaches 72 first, reverse sweep podcast or Virat Kohli.
Virat
So
Kohli.
guys, let us know, what do you think? So today we will be not talking about Sri Lanka series because of the irrelevant players like Sanju Samson, Manish Pandey failing chance after chance
Nitish
after
Rana.
chance.
तो
राणा,
भाई
I won't say much because राणा के लिए तो ठीक था फिर भी, because he was getting a debut cap. So मतलब मेन राणा के ऊपर इतना प्रेशर नहीं था क्योंकि वो ऐसे भी कंसिडरेशन में नहीं था T20
हाँ.
वर्ल्ड कप के लिए. मेन प्रेशर तो था सैमसंग और मनीष पांडे और मे बी धवन ऑल्सो फॉर दैट रीजन. Dhawan,
Captain.
Dhawan as a captain failed miserably in T20, and like I don't think there's a way back for him unless and until he has an exceptional IPL where he's just go all out blazing. I don't think so. But yeah,
I think captaincy ने उसको काफी affect किया. I think, but yeah, as you were discussing even privately that he is performance के बाद T20s में तो he has as good as closed the door for him. So let us see.
I think he'll make the squad, but playing 11 मुश्किल है.
Yeah, playing 11 no chance. Rohit and Rahul will
Right.
open. I don't see
Correct.
any
Yeah.
other changes happening.
Just the big factor that goes in his stride is he's a lefty. So in case
Right.
India short of lefties, which they have been, then he can come into the consideration. But I think that's a very next level point. If he doesn't
Anyway,
form.
Sri Lanka series was irrelevant and COVID rattled. So we should talk about
Yep.
the main thing
So-
that's coming up later today actually.
yeah, it's already 12:22 a.m. here. So but yeah, but the whole excitement about the test series, the new cycle of the World Test Championship. First, let me ask, looking at the schedule, do you think we are going to make the finals yet again, or is this the series a decider series? Looking at the schedule ahead, this series will play a crucial role. So do you think that this series is like a make or break to our road to WTC finals? We'll start with Sid then.
Yeah, definitely. I think like these big games are the series deciders because I think all India, Australia, England, New Zealand will beat the small team like Sri Lanka, West Indies in test matches, right? Like we need like कुछ बहुत बड़ा surprise that they lose. So I think these big games play a big role. Like even if you look at last year, not last this year only, but last World Test Championship, India England series was the decider for England to qualify for the finals, right? India needed to win 2-1 minimum, वैसे कुछ था. And even this time, 5 tests is a big thing. And obviously, I think we need to win. I'm not too pressurized about 4-1 jeete, 5-0 jeete, 3-2 jeete. That's fine. But we just need to win. We need to get the points and we need to get up on the table. क्योंकि अगर ये हार गए, फिर pressure बढ़ता रहेगा. Then it'll become like whitewash करना पड़ेगा ऑस्ट्रेलिया को, whitewash करना करे न्यूजीलैंड को. And that's like nearly like it's very, very tough. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very tough and there's a lot of pressure. I think obviously
but
winning this,
Australia
we
and
need to
New
win this.
Zealand, we are playing at home, so it shouldn't be a problem इतना. अपन लोग मस्त सब बनाएंगे, मस्त डस्ट विकेट और कंप्लेन और ऑस्ट्रेलिया वालों को रोने
और
देंगे.
Lion Zampa आएगा, हमें छोड़ देगा.
हाँ
Zampa तो यार ODI स्क्वाड में मुश्किल से आधे टेस्ट तो बहुत दूर की बात है. So let us not.
but I think
Zampa जो भी है.
if I'm not wrong, our major away series are South Africa, England, and West Indies, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think we are
New
not
Zealand is
playing
at
in,
home, I think.
yeah,
New Zealand is at home. 3 tests at home. And South Africa abhi they are minnows of cricket right now. So if India cannot smack them 3-0 when we go there, that would be a real shame. Or at least at the very least win the series because South Africa are really struggling. So
Yep.
anyway, the main
Yep.
thing which we want to discuss today is, of course, the preview of England and India's Test series. And again, another India-England series. It is like barely 3 years since we went to England, and already 4 tests we played this year. So both teams have again started to become very close to each other, like how India Sri Lanka used to play, 10 series every week, every other month. So again, another as Michael Vaughan was saying on ClickBuzz, whenever India comes to England, it's always a very exciting prospect. And since the large Indian diaspora is there, who also will come out and support India very passionately, and with
Sid
all
Jain is
crowds,
there. Sid
yes,
Jain is there.
and 100% crowd. So we're going to see a really, for the first time,
Army.
yeah, for the first
Bharat
time,
Army.
we're going to see a proper crowd in a big series since COVID started. So yeah, that's going to be really exciting. And just to add up on whether this series, how crucial it is to the World Test Championship final, I don't think it is a very big, will not be a big roadblock for India, because the remaining 5 series that India has, India should win them. So I think India, more or less seeing the schedule, should make the World Test Championship finals. It would
Okay.
be very surprising if we don't, unless we lose this series very badly.
Until Kohli
Yeah.
is there, I'm not surprised with anything, to be honest. Like, I'm even in the worst case or the easiest thing, we can end up choking. So yeah,
Right.
let's move on to the team preview and the news which is coming from England. It's not looking good. Like, I don't know what is the curse. Like, every away tour we have either injuries or COVID or some of the other things. And recently in the last net session, Mayank Agrawal, who was finally about to get his chance to open the innings most probably, and Gill already ruled out. So two of our openers are already out. So let me quickly ask you guys. We'll start with Pranav. Who do you think? There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of rumors flying around. You might see Pujara, you might see
Right, right,
Viari, you might see KLR open. So I think what would be your top four, and who would you open alongside Rohit, and who
right.
will bat at three?
Right. So as you say, whenever India goes overseas, the biggest concern is who will make the 11, and not due to form, but now it is about fitness. I mean, we saw in Australia how every single game there were 3-4 injuries, and so already this series, before it starts, we are having injury worries. I mean, yeah, Mayank is not going to play the first test at the very least, and not just that, Rahane also is having an injury scare. But I
Hamstring
hope,
injury.
yeah, hamstring injury, which again takes at least a few 3 to 4 weeks to be fully okay. So that's another big concern. But I don't know. I hope he's fully fit and he plays, because Rahane is a crucial player in overseas conditions. I think there was rumors like about Pujara opening. I think has been quashed. Rahane himself said Pujara is not going to open, so we can forget that. The question is, will KL Rahul open or will it be Ishwaran? But Ishwaran has not been given a chance even in the practice game, I think.
Hmm.
Whereas Rahul scored a good 70 or
100.
80, 100,
He scored
sorry.
100.
Right,
100.
100, correct. But another rumor is that Hanuma Vihari will be thrown to the Sharks right at the start of the series, and the Nottingham pitch, which was being circulated, looked like center court at Wimbledon. But I guess they will. I think they will shave off a significant amount, because they don't want to. They know what happened at Lord's 2014 when they gave an absolute green park. So I guess there will be some help for the bowlers, as it always is the case in England. But I would prefer Hanuma Vihari opening, because even with the dead hamstring in the Sydney Test, he just hung in there, and he's got really good temperament. We know he can just dig his heels in, and he can just stay there at the crease, and that's the main issue with Indian team overseas. The openers have not batted 20 overs and taken some shine off the ball. So now, of course, even in the World Test Championship final, we saw that after Rohit and Gill, also the ball was moving around, and that's the case in England. But again, if the openers do not give you a good start, you're always going to struggle. So I would take the risk with Hanuma Vihari, because I trust him more than KL Rahul currently. I mean, KL Rahul is a fantastic talent, but in Test cricket, he has been struggling with the moving ball. And him and Rohit both against Broad and Anderson, I'm not, it's quite scary, because while Rohit has also improved, we need somebody who's really solid also, who will play with them. So Vihari will be my guy.
So your three will be Viari,
Yeah,
Rohit,
Vihari,
and
Rohit,
Pujara.
Pujara, and Kohli.
Pujara,
That will be my
Kohli.
top four.
So do you
Um,
agree, Sid, or do you?
no, I would go opposite. I would KL. But first, I would say the pitch point, right? Pranav said that the pitch is green, amazing, right? But one more thing is Nottingham, where we're playing to a Trent Bridge, right? It's a very small stadium, right? We saw that in the World Cup 2019. Unka boundaries thoda, it's like a square pitch. It's not like a
Yep.
circular, you know. So I think that's from a batting perspective, that's something to look at. Sometimes when you look at green pitches in England, you say like 250 is a par score. But at a ground like Tottenham, if you're a set batsman, then I think you can find the boundaries easily. It's a small ground. So I think that has to shift. And I think that's where KL comes into the picture. If Prahan is injured, which I think if he's even not 100% fit, I don't think he should be rushed. It's a 5 match
I
series, right? So
agree.
बहुत time है आगे. So then I think Vihari would play a bigger role in the middle order, because I think हमारा middle order is a place where we have Jadeja, Pant, and both like to like score freely, and that's what I would want someone to stabilize, and that's what Vihari does. KL, I think he's on amazing form. I think he sat out the whole of the England series at home. Then he hasn't played in quite a while. He didn't get a chance in Australia as well, and he's been eager to come and score runs. I think that's what I look at. I think he's the guy he's eager. He's looking to cement his place because he knows he's the fourth opener. He's not even third, right? अब मैंक थर्ड है तो और उसको ये एक चांस मिला, अगर एक चांस इधर अच्छा करे देन हु नोस, वो सेकंड खेलेगा, थर्ड खेलेगा, फोर्थ भी खेल ले, हु नोस. बस बोल रहा, तो आई थिंक he'll be the guy who's more on confidence to open the inning. So that's why I
Yep.
would go with KL and then save Vihari for the middle order. Irani gets injured, something happens, I want Vihari in the middle order. So yeah, KL, Rohit, Pujara, Kohli, my top four.
That makes sense, and I agree with Sijay. Like, the drawback of opening with Vihari might be that he doesn't score runs quickly. He's like quickly. I mean to say, not even above 80 or 70 strike rate. He's someone who plays like 30-40 ka strike rate, and
But
that is something which I
yeah,
don't think so
Yeah,
will complement well with Rohit Sharma. Someone like Rohit Sharma, because if there's no run coming and just blocking happening from the other side, Rohit will look to hit run and might end up giving the wicket. But I think what Rohit and Gill did was they complemented each other. Like, Gill used to play a lot freely than what a Vihari does or what a Pujara does. So I'm not very keen on opening with either of Pujara and Vihari for that reason. I'm okay to lose a wicket or two early, but if we get like 60-70 runs in 20 overs, that's with a one wicket down, that's a pretty good start. So I would
yeah.
want someone like KL Rahul who plays little freely than a Vihari and Pujara to come. So that will be my top four as Sid J as well. And then I think our middle order looks settled unless and until there's Rahane injury scare. I don't think so. There will be a lot of changes. But now again, the talking factor comes like, will we change our combination? Will we shift
Yeah.
from two spinners and go for someone like Shardul Thakur?
I
Uh,
just want to
Shardul,
add one thing. If Rahane is injured, then there's no option. KL Rahul will open and Vihari will bat in the middle order. There's no question about that. So, like Sid said, if he's doubtful, he should not play, because if he picks up an injury, then he'll be gone for the whole series.
yep.
So we
So
can
now,
get.
yeah. So now the whole talking point: will Ravi Shastri and Kohli stick to their best 11? If we don't take condition into respect, will that attitude stay the same, or because they have not announced the lineup this time around? They have told they will announce it during the toss. So do you think after the World Test Championship final loss, it is something which is hitting their mind and they want to look at the condition before deciding the playing 11? And if we see one of Ashwin or Jadeja to be dropped and we play with four pacers, if the conditions are so, what do you think? Like, do you think that will happen, or we are going to stick with same Jadeja Ashwin combo plus three pacers?
I
And if
think
three
these. I
pacers,
think
who
the
will be the three pacers to play?
Yeah, I think. See, the World Test Championship pitch was a pitch which was made to last 5 and 6 days. There was not a whole amount of grass on it. There was just sufficient amount to give some seam movement, and of course, the conditions at Southampton, gloomy conditions, helped. Now, all will depend on the pitch. The thing is, I was reading on CricBuzz that in August and September Test matches, spinners have averaged 33 compared to June and July when they're averaging 43, which makes sense because June and July the pitches are much fresher. So they would help the fast bowlers a lot more. So obviously it depends on the pitch itself. And as Shane Warne says, if it's going to seam, it's going to spin. So that will be important to see how exactly the pitch is expected to behave. And also the weather, English weather, we know is unpredictable, but it seems like it will be a decent forecast in Nottingham for the 5 days. So Thing is, if we play Ashwin and Jadeja, we're playing our best 11, and there's nothing wrong with that because having 5 bowlers in a test match is something which is always important. Although I guess given England's batting and given that maybe the series will have, you know, more like a between 250 and 300 kind of pitches, maybe we don't need to have 5 bowlers itself. Maybe 4 will be enough. So that will be important to see for India. And see, Shami, Ishant, and Bhuvi, sorry, and Bumrah, you have to pick them. I mean, I love Siraj and I would take a punt with him, but I would not take a punt with him if we're going to play 5 bowlers. That will make the batting very weak. If we're playing only 4 bowlers and say uh, that's it, then we couldn't consider him.
So then you're
But
saying you would drop Ashwin for Siraj?
if you had to drop one of the spinners, then I guess Ashwin would have to be dropped because Jadeja is the better batsman.
Correct.
But Ashwin has been bowling well even in English county cricket.
Exactly.
Like I said, I was telling you just
Ashwin,
before,
yeah,
he was turning the ball square. I mean, so
I
it's
feel Ashwin is a no. Has turned. I don't know what he has done with himself, but his game has turned into such a way that, irrespective of the condition, Ashwin is
Correct.
always a threat. Like,
yeah, he's a
Correct.
definite threat. He
I
has
think
got
even in the
lot
World
of
Test Championship finals, right, जहाँ पे in fourth inning when New Zealand chasing 130 and our Pacers couldn't do anything. Ashwin
he
ने
was
आया
the
और 2
one
wicket
doing
लिए
it.
उसने. He was the one doing it, like against
Didn't he
lefties as well.
he
And
got the
England have like
first
decent
wicket
lefties,
also
right?
in the first innings, if I'm not mistaken. So
And
Ashwin has actually learned a lot from being just the dust bowl bully that he was maybe in 2014. So the difficult call because the other issue which is that Jadeja also did not get much bowling even in the World Test Championship final until towards the end. So clearly for Virat, Ashwin is the first spinner. So I guess Ashwin is going to play irrespective. The question is, do we play Jadeja as well or do we play an extra batsman? But now with the injury problem, again, probably we're going to be forced to play with the 5 bowling options because who do we have apart from if Rahane is out injured, Mayank is already out injured. Whom do we have who can play in the middle order?
yeah, what I feel is, I completely agree with what Kohli and Ravi Shastri said. I think uh, there's no need of a 4 pacer.
Yeah,
We,
absolutely.
we can do with 3 pacers, and we
correct.
can do with Jadeja and Ashwin, because I do dropping Jadeja and Ashwin is like a very risky move, because the upside
Correct.
which Jadeja and Ashwin have, when you look to at Jadeja with his batting and his fielding, and when you look at Ashwin to get the wickets out of nowhere, and then he can bat as well, like he can stay there, he can stay there, but he's a number 1 bowler currently in our side when you talk about thing. So it's very very hard to drop any of those, because the
Right.
other option which you get is either you get in Washington Sundar, but I think he's also injured,
He's
and
also out
then
injured.
you have Akshar Patel and Shardul Thakur, but I don't think so
Yeah.
Akshar Patel is a better batsman than
No,
Jadeja
Jadeja.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
a given
absolutely.
No
day,
way.
and not even a better fielder, and then Shardul Thakur maybe a decent batsman and a pacer, but do we really
Erratic
need the
bowler.
4th pacer is the question.
We
I don't
don't
think
need it.
so.
See, like even in the World Test Championship final, people were cribbing about the team combination, but the fact is that our main guy Bumrah was not having a good day. Ishan took a few overs to get sets, and Shami was unlucky. See, if they had all three bowled well together, we could have bowled New Zealand out cheaply. They were a bit short on overs. That was the main thing. So I would not add another pacer. And see, only in places like South Africa, like that Johannesburg pitch, where it was, a pacer's pitch, you don't need a fourth bowler. It's not required. So either a three
I think
plus
this year
one or 3+2. That's the only option
this
which I
is
would
this
opt.
is India's biggest problem in all formats, right? All rounder who bowls pace. Like Hardik Pandya के बाद कोई है नहीं, और Hardik Pandya also after his injury he's been pretty average. Let's be honest, right? Even in Sri Lanka he didn't do much, so he's not done anything that he can come into a test side. And we need a Ben Stokes, and that's where I think India and England are on level. Ben Stokes is out for the England, right? So even England have the same problem now, because
And we
when
can't rush Hardik back to bowling. He's
correct.
back will
But they have
again go.
Sam Curran is pretty good.
Yeah, but Sam Curran hasn't been tested in like big tests right now. So,
Yeah.
obviously he's a good bowler,
The
but
thing about
people,
Sam Curran,
yeah,
I would like to say is, of course, everyone knows I'm not his biggest fan. But the thing is, Sam Curran, when he comes to bat at number 8, he's coming in as as part of the tail, and he's not expected to score big runs. His runs are considered as a bonus. He's still a bowler who bats currently in the team, though they say eventually he'll become a batsman who bowls. But when you're batting at number 7, you have a responsibility there. So that's a different responsibility which he's not used to, and he's trying to fill the shoes of Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes has been England's best batsman at home in the last 3 years. He averages 44. The next best is Joe Root at 32, I think, and the rest are all, well,
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
yes, they're
So
all lottery numbers.
correct. So I think if Rahane is fit, I think I don't see much of the changes in the first test. So I think what our lineup will be, it will be Rahul, Rohit
Rohit.
opening, then Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, Pant, Jadeja, Ashwin, Bumrah,
And the three
Shami,
testers, yeah.
Ishant.
Yeah, I think
Correct.
this
So
is the
I
lineup
think,
as well, which will most likely be
yeah.
playing it.
So, and that is a pretty good and a strong lineup. So,
Yeah.
just one question, like the next question which I want to ask is, what do you think a team as a whole should look to change?
I
What
think for
they have to improve?
yeah.
I think one of my main disappointment from the team was we have done pretty well against the front 6 7 batsmen, but we always fail to
Against the
remove
tail.
the tail, and we just give extra 100 and 150 70 runs, and
Correct.
those 50 70
Correct.
runs in foreign conditions where the ball is seaming
Haunt
swinging,
us.
it's very tough to make that again come back. We did it in Australia because our tail did the same there, but once our tail is not that good,
Our
and it,
tail.
so I think for me, one thing that we need improvement is definitely to pick those tail wickets at the earlier and not give those 50 60 runs extra, which we have been giving since a long time across all the formats. So what do you think we should change
I
looking
think
at the last World Test
yeah.
cycle? We'll go to Sitgen.
An even bigger thing, same tail point only. Our tail needs to bat more. Like I feel that is such a big point. Like our tail always runs up like a 4-digit number, man. कभी देखा ही नहीं last like Shami आता है 2 hit मारता है out हो जाता है. Bumrah,
Yeah,
Ishant, they can't
there are
defend for their
no,
lives.
except the Indian tail, there are no genuine
Correct.
tails left
Exactly.
actually in modern cricket. Most of them
Correct.
can bat to some extent.
And like that's what I want to see change. Like you have 5 tests, man. 5 tests is a big thing. Practice in nets. Do something like support the other guy. I think I want to see a tail score and obviously see Kohli 72nd. I think that's a big
The best
like,
is Ishant
if we
Sharma who
don't
can just block. That's all we have.
yeah. And Kohli 72nd is the big next thing.
Yeah.
And obviously I think this is a big series for Pujara himself, right? Because if Pujara does not do well this series, then I think his place in the squad is a big question mark. If so, let's say Rahul does well, then who knows? We might open with Rahul Rohit and play Gill at 3, or open with Gill Rohit, play Rahul at 3. Anything can happen in cricket, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a
And
big
it's
series for
interesting
Pujara.
as well because
I
Shaw and
actually have some
Suryakumar,
stats when you let me speak. I want to bring, which is
yeah,
very important,
definitely.
right?
And
So,
yeah,
talking of Pujara actually, as per the stats in the last 3 years, that is since we started touring again, is the second highest run scorer for India, and he averages 38, which is okay, not too bad given that only Kohli is ahead of him. But minus Australia, he averages 27 in England in 10 tests. And the problem is in Australia, he digs his heels in, sees off the Kookaburra ball, and the ball goes bad after a while and it does not move. But in England, like we say, in the cooler conditions, and in the Duke's ball in general stays hard longer and it moves a lot longer. So his approach is a bit of an issue because you just cannot, hope to survive by just, staying there. So that Pujara and the others have to try and find a strategy where if Pujara is not going to score, others at least keep the scoreboard ticking, which is the mistake that happened in the final against New Zealand. Also, very big series for Rahane as well, because Rahane in the second phase of touring since 2018 overseas, he's also averaging just 29. And before that, in the 2014-15 time, he was India's best overseas player. And Rahane has been given a very long rope. So these senior players have to step up. We need one of these two to have a big series, along with, of course, Kohli and Rohit. These guys have to step up. If that happens, then, of course,
ये तो
India
सारी
should.
squad ही बोल दी. Everyone needs to
I don't
step
say
up.
sorry, Scott. What I mean is, we need the senior players to really step up in the big, because last time only Kohli ne runs बनाए and Pujara ने एक 100 बनाया था at I think Southampton. That's it. So some of the senior players need to really think like this is their last series and perform, because that's the only way
पर अब
we
तो
can
पूरा
win.
स्क्वाड ही सीनियर है, मतलब you cannot say junior
Yeah, it's
वाला.
a very
Exactly.
experienced squad. That's true. The main issue, with a rare occasion when Sanjay Manjrekar speaks sense, is that India's overseas issue is that कि जब बैटिंग अच्छी करती है, bowling अच्छी नहीं करती, but अभी bowling is doing so well, the batting doesn't perform. So we need,
Complement each other.
both the elements need to do well. that is the main issue for us overseas.
Yeah.
We have had maybe one good game where it happens, and बाकी सब game में कचरा हो जाते हैं.
So
And
yeah,
very niche point, like one more niche point I'd like to think is slip catching. I think that's going to be a big difference between the two teams.
We are one
I
of the
think that
worst
if you
among the
remember
top
in
sides.
World Test Championship final में जो पुजारा का slip, I don't know if you remember, पुजारा ने slip
yep,
catch drop की थी, or Williamson only,
Williamson.
right? And then, so I think slip catching will be a huge difference between the both sides, because I think this is our most experienced slip, like obviously after Lakshman and Sachin, all that. Like I think we have Pujar in slips, we have Rohit in slips, we have like the most
Rohit
experienced
is
slip
actually
contingent
really
here.
good in slips. It's underrated
Correct.
his slip catching.
So I think we need, and obviously in England, when the ball moves, you need to take your catches in
That's a very
slips.
good point. Yes,
So
that's a
I
very
think
good
that's going
point.
to be a big factor in the series.
Yep. So we
I
have
think one issue in England is that the ball actually moves a lot after passing the bat. So Rishabh Pant has to first be able to adjust well. I am sure he will. He's really
Panto,
improved,
yeah.
and the slip cordon accordingly also has to adjust. And please have a fixed position for all the slip fielders. Pujara
now.
first, Rohit second, and Kohli should just not stand in the slips at all. Stand at mid off, cover wherever. Best.
Yeah, but this is great to see like how the time has changed in like 1.5 year. Like the only problem which our squad used to have was the wicket keeping spot, but nowadays no one even talks about the wicket keeping. Like everyone feels so safe with Pant right now
Pant,
with the form.
exactly.
Like no one even talk about like another keeper or who can come in because it's a no-brainer. So I think Pant has done exceptionally well to gain that trust back, because there was a lot of critics not upon his batting, I would say, because batting he was doing fairly decent, not great, but main focus was on his wicket keeping skills. But I think he has improved massively. I'm not sure what he has worked upon, but his wicket keeping has
I think,
improved
yeah. He's a
drastically.
He
fan.
said
He's a
he lost a
classic
bit
fans
of weight.
player.
He said he lost a bit of weight and got in shape. So that was one thing which was crucial for him. He said, and that automatically improved his agility around behind the stumps, and that's very
I think the
important.
fact that he keeps talking between the stumps, like वो fans का बहुत अच्छा है. That's what they like. Test match in 8 घंटे बैठ के कौन देखेगा पुजारी को defend करते करते. पंत कुछ बोले तभी तो मजा आता है. That's what the fans want.
Yeah,
तभी तो.
वो तो सही है. So yeah, we have discussed pretty much about the Indian squad, but I just wanted to quickly touch base upon the English squad with Ben Stokes out, and Jofra Archer was not in the squad, but unlikely he's
Yeah.
available for any of the five tests as well. So I
yeah,
think
he's
two of
out,
their main players are out,
and
and
Chris Wokes too.
Vokes is
Chris
also
Wokes,
out.
Stokes out.
yes, and
Yes.
Chris Wokes has got an even better home average than Anderson, so he's a very crucial player. And he made that 140 and embarrassed us at Lord last time, which I cannot forget. So he's another crucial player
So
who's gone.
Sid, who do you think is the major threat in that England squad apart from the England bowling, which we all know about James Anderson and Stuart Broad? But I don't think so. They will play all the 5 games.
Both, nahin, yeah. So I think first game they both will play, and then I think they'll alternate each other. Like a game Anderson, a game Broad खेलेगा. But I think that third pacer is what we need to be ready for. Like someone like an Ollie Robinson or an Ollie Stone, who Ollie Robinson did well in the last series. Like so he picked up like 3-4 wickets. He picked up a 5 wicket haul, I think. And then Ollie Stone, I think they have these tall, real tall pacers who come in with height and then they generate bounce. And that's what
Jameson की
Indian
याद मत
batsmen.
दिला भाई.
वही मैं बोल रहा. That's what I was coming to. That's what Indian batsmen don't like. They don't like the ball like tall. जब tall release होता है, that's what they don't like, and that's what England pacers are. So I think we need to be wary of that. But I don't think they're a major threat. I think our pace bowling is much better than them. So I think we should be fine. But obviously Indian batting keeps coming up with surprises. But yeah, I think I'm not even the spinner Jack Leach or whoever plays that ball guy. Jack shouldn't be
He's
a
Jack
problem.
Leach.
Yeah,
And
shouldn't
don't
be a
think the
problem.
English batsmen are in great form as well. I'm
Very
not
poor.
sure
In
how they
fact,
did against New Zealand as well in the
very
home
poor.
series.
In
Poor,
fact,
poor.
England has got the worst home batting average in the last 3 years as well. They are number 8 among the top sides. And even Joe Root, like I said, averages 32 at home. And with Ben Stokes, who averages 44 in the last 3 years, not there, he's worth two players, because even with the ball, he can suddenly come in, bowl a spell, and nick out two guys. So it's a huge blow for England. This is actually the worst English squad you can see in the last 20
Definitely.
years. And while, of course, Sam
Virat
Curran is
Kohli
going to,
will make them look great. No one
well,
else.
that's there.
Uh, uh,
But Sam Curran was the man of the series last time, and he's again the biggest threat to India, because he'll make his runs at the end, and he in these conditions his bowling is more than useful. So he's the guy to look out for. Look for plans against him. I mean, he doesn't like the bouncer very much because in West Indies he got really badly exposed against their pace attack. So that's one thing India can look at.
And yeah, just
The
one more thing.
batting,
I want Haseem Hamid to open. Like just
he
generally, I
should
feel like
open. He'll open, I
yeah.
guess. He's an
Because I
opener,
think
isn't
like
he?
when like 3 years back, like I was 15, 16 myself, and I used to be like, who's this 18, 19-year-old? Suddenly, I suddenly hunted Mara, and then I think he's a dipped in form. I think he's been mistreated by the management. But then I think he scored like 200, 300 of a county this year, so he's in great form, and I want him to open. Obviously, I don't want him to score big, but then I want him to get a chance, and I think he can do well against this Indian bowling lineup.
Yep. But whatever, I think it will be a great series and a great series to
For
kick
sure.
off the World Test Championship, because with you all know the English crowd, how they love the Test cricket and the atmosphere in the ground, and then finally 100% sold out. So that will make things lively as well. And then there'll be equal fans from our side as well, because there's a lot of Indians out there with the new officials. So I think it won't be a one-sided series, even though England does look weak, but in the end they are playing at their home with
Correct.
a tons of experience their player have in this condition, so they will always have a upper hand. I don't rule them out just because of the squad name or no Stokes or no Archer, but obviously India are a very good traveling side. So as we have discussed about the Indian side and the England side, I just wanted to throw in the last prediction, quick question to both Sid and Pranav. So who do you think will be the top scorer and the top wicket taker for us in this series?
Right. So I think for India, again, I'm going to go on a limb and say
Don't say Kohli.
it will be Virat Kohli.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
joking, not Virat Kohli. I think I think if you were to think who will be the leading run scorer, I think Rahane if he plays all 5 games, I will put my money on him because there'll be one game I'm sure he'll make a lot of runs, and I just feel maybe this series he'll really play well. I just have a feeling, no logic behind it, just that feeling that Rahane will come good this series. Bowling, I'm going to say Ishant will be our best bowler because he really is become India's key bowler right now, and he's so consistent that if Bumrah or Shami can be prone to off days, but Ishant rarely has
But
those
yeah,
off
but is
days. So
Bumrah's form is a
yeah,
matter
if
of
Bumrah
concern?
peaks, then not really. See, he played one game after like IPL was suddenly stopped and there was barely any practice, and then we only played intra squad games, and intra squad games are just not really the same as playing a warm up game. So it happens. Bumrah is when he was first in the team, he was a mystery bowler. Now people have understood more of how to play him, so naturally he's going to have to find ways to get batsmen out. But the moment he's had enough bowling in his legs, he's going to be really dangerous. So I would not worry just right now.
So Rahane and Ishant is Pranav's pick. What about Sid?
Um, for me, I think gut feel is Rohit. I feel like taking an opener England is very risky, but I feel like this is his series. 5 matches. I think he just looked good for me. I think Rohit for runs, and I think in bowling tough. I think Ishant. I agree with Pranav. I think Ishant is very top, and I think England is perfect for him. I think although I feel like Ashwin can be a surprise package, I wouldn't rule
I
out
felt
Ashwin.
the same. Yeah,
If Ashwin can play all 5 tests, I think he
I
can be a
think he
surprise
plays all
package for
five.
us.
I
That's a
think
bit
he
of
plays all five.
a bit of
But that's a
a
big combination risk,
stretch.
right? Yeah. That no, that's why I said I'm a bit confused between Ishant and Ashwin. Ashwin is surprised, but obviously first call is Ishant, and then yeah, Rohit. I think I've seen Rohit get out in 30s and 40s a lot, man. I want him to like
Yeah.
convert them to big,
Which is
man.
why
Get
I
them to
didn't pick
start.
him actually, because he gets these 30s and 40s and he's getting out. So I'm
Good, good. Yeah, just gut says that this time we'll do it.
Yep.
Let's see.
But yeah, but I think finally, as always, I think it's Virat Kohli's time to shine. Finally, after a wait, I don't know, but I think if he doesn't perform this series, then I don't think so he can perform after this series.
Khatam.
Like mentally,
Indian
it will
fans
be
and Virat Kohli are ever the
like mentally it will be so tough. Like imagine you are at the peak and like last 2 years you have not been able to score runs. You did, but not in consistent patches. So
Correct.
I think this is where his determination and his hard work will show off. Let's see if he can capture the English tour, but I have a feeling that Virat Kohli will end up as our leading run scorer and followed by Rohit Sharma second. And then I just want Bumrah to do well, man. Like he might not be among the leading wicket takers because I think people like as you know, people play more cautiously like nowadays, even in test. But I think Shami looked really good in the World Test Championship, and um, if he plays all five, but I don't think so. All three pacers
Yeah,
play all five
correct.
because
Mhm, yeah.
we have Shardul Thakur,
Definitely.
we have Siraj. I think both of them will get a couple of games for sure, and Siraj should get as well. So
Correct.
Yeah.
it's very hard to predict who will be the highest wicket taker, but I will go with Virat and Ashwin, and that is pretty much it. And what last question before we wrap up? What do you, if you are a captain tomorrow, will you send Rohit Sharma for the toss or just to flip the coin?
Send Rishabh Pant for toss.
Yeah, just pray we win the toss. I mean, our toss record is so abysmal. I mean,
Oh.
last time we lost all 5 tosses. So
Will toss be crucial tomorrow? I have not
Yeah,
seen the condition.
yeah, the toss will always be crucial when the two teams are kind of evenly matched because in English conditions, India and England are fairly evenly matched. Whereas in India, the toss didn't really matter so much because India was far superior. So toss will be crucial. So and let's see what wicket actually is put out. I mean, unless we see the wicket, we can't make out. See, if there's a lot of
मतलब
grass on it, then
BCC posted the wicket देखा जो माइकल
right,
वॉन ने भी उस पे कह रहा था
right.
totally
If there's a lot
green
of
green.
grass, then it is yeah, we should bowl first. But I guess if it's got a lot of grass, then for a couple of days it will be good for bowling for both sides. So I guess if you win the toss, we should bowl first, and you should put that English batting, which is under
Yep.
very much under pressure, under even more pressure, rather than us going out there and getting 150 all out. Let's get them 150 all out.
Got it. So quick prediction before we wrap this session up. Who do you think is winning the test, or will it be a draw?
Sid, you go
First
first.
test.
Sid, go.
Yes. I think not a draw because I think both. I think draw batting fight is very tough for
India
both
or
the
England?
sides.
One word.
India.
Pranav.
Yeah, I'll go for India as well. I think one test will be washed out. It's England, and there's one test in Manchester and one in Leeds. One of them will get washed out. I think one of the tests is likely to
अब
get
भी
washed
बारिश
out.
हो रही है क्या वहाँ पर? क्या साल भर बारिश होती है
हाँ
क्या?
हो
तो
सकती है
हो
भाई,
रही
and
है
now we're going into
हो रही है
September.
बारिश.
September is so autumn here, so then there's always a good chance. I think India will come out on top. I'm not sure about a score line. Vaughan predicts 3-1 to India, and well, on
We
paper,
we will take that prediction later,
yeah.
but
But India, I pick India to win the series.
India. Will it be a final washout? Yes or no?
No,
ओ भाई कितने क्वेश्चन हो गए खत्म
no,
करो
no,
भाई
no.
too much pressure.
Chalo. Okay. So yeah, that was it, guys. So it was really good, really fun discussing with you. So yeah. So whoever is watching us on any of our social media platforms, wherever you're watching, do hit that like and subscribe button. Keep following us and also keep commenting on what else you want from us. So we are here to bring content for you guys, whatever you guys enjoy. So yeah, keep supporting, keep liking, and yeah, let's hope India
Stay
wins the
safe.
series.
Yeah,
See you guys in the next
see you
episode.
guys.